Hello, and welcome back to Snake Bight, a Mo, Ray, and Leah adventure. Adventure number 1. We are up to chapter 6. Nullarbor means what? Mo could hear a metallic clinking sound, something like wind chimes. Stop banging on the garage door, Ray, Mo muttered, half asleep, his tail covering his eyes. This time the sound was faster and louder, rattling the road sign he was folded over. Mo was awake now and realized he could feel the warmth of the sun on his scales. The energy from the sun is an important source of strength for snakes, and he felt a little more himself. He peeked from under his tail and saw the warm orange sun climbing over the flat plateau. Where is that sound coming from? He pondered. Mo looked down and in his daze saw a curious, prickly lizard looking up at him, slapping his tail against the foot of his sign pole. Mo was confused and shook his little head. Susie, is that you? Susie? Ha! No, fella. My name is Nully, replied a gruff voice. I've been trying to wake you up. Mo could see more clearly now, and although this little lizard looked similar to Susie, he had a deep rust color along his sides and a streaky cream and black beard of tiny spikes. His back was spined and mottled, and he had a long striped tail, just like Susie's. Mo felt a burst of relief and excitement wash through his tired muscles to see a familiar-looking friend. Don't you know Walger and Karnka will be out and about any minute now? You are an easy target up on that sign, fella. Nullarbor, Walger, Karnka? What the? Mo moaned in a daze. What are all these new words? Where the heck am I? Oh, sorry, fella. You're not from around here. I'm using a local but very old language spoken by the first humans of this land, the Merning people. I sometimes say their words because my ancestors have lived here for a very long time too. Waldia are eagles, and Karnka are crows, and you are in the Nullarbor, fella. It is a very special place. Mo looked up quickly at the thought of eagles and crows. He had hidden from them back home and didn't fancy meeting one right now in his sorry state. He slid down the cool pole onto the scratchy gravel below. Thank you for the warning, Nully. I'm Mo. So, I am in the Nullarbor, you say. What makes it special? Well, the Merning people call it Undiri, the waterless. He chuckled. But today many humans also call it the Nullarbor, the treeless plain. You see, null means no, and arbor means tree. This name also comes from a very old language called Latin. Nully climbed up a nearby log, puffed out his little striped neck and beard, and stuck out his lower jaw. He was very proud of his knowledge. I like to eavesdrop on the humans when they talk around the fire at their camps. Mo felt weak again and curled up. What's the matter, fella? No trees, no water. What a mess I've gotten myself into, Mo groaned. He lifted his head as high as he could, peering into the horizon. All around him were dry little shrubs. Some were thin and grey, others had small white or blue wild flowers. Between the bushes were tufts of grass with porcupine quill-like blades. These unusual yet pretty plants were divided by a maze of multicolored gravel pathways, created by the creatures that inhabit the strange place. Behind him, the long, straight road cut the vast treeless plain in two, tapering into oblivion in both directions. I live in trees, Nully. This is not a good place for me. Maybe you or a friend can show me how I can find my way back home? Nully felt sympathy for his fellow reptile. He wanted to help. This place is all us Nullarbor mob know, Mo. I hear the camping humans say we are on the far edge of this land, but I don't have a clue which edge, and I don't know anyone else who would. Unless... He paused for a moment, staring down the quiet highway, but quickly shook his head. Nope, there's simply no one. Mo suddenly felt dizzy again. You don't look too good, fella. Let's get you to a shady bush where we can figure this out. You got here somehow. I'm sure we can get you back. Mo could barely move from hunger and exhaustion, so Nully nuzzled under his body and carried him on his back to the nearby shrubs. I think I have just the thing for you, fella, he said with a wink, before scuttling away at high speed on his two hind legs. Mo managed to curl himself up at the base of a thick, shady bush, and it wasn't long before Nully came running back with something round in his mouth. He gently placed it in front of Mo. Eat this tucker, Mo. It'll have you back in shape in no time. Mo looked at the little speckled oval snack and didn't think twice about the fact he was about to eat what looked like a tiny rugby ball. His tongue flickered gently, touching the object, and instinct kicked in. He used his last ounce of energy and swallowed it whole, crushing it with his neck muscles as it slid down his throat. That is delicious, declared Mo with a satisfied grin on his face. What was that? That is a delicacy out here, fella, smiled Nully, puffing his chest out again. The Merning people call it a mealga egg, but I've heard others call them quail thrush eggs too. Well, I'm calling them energy eggs, laughed Mo, feeling his strength and mood slowly improving already. It's going to be a stinker today. Your eyes tell me you might be one of those nighttime reptiles anyway, am I right? Yes, replied Mo. The sun is a bit bright for me now. I tell you what, let's head to my home before the sun's too high. It's cool and shady there, and I think you might enjoy the view. Nully knew Mo could do with some rest, and he was looking forward to some company. Mo smiled and nodded. His egg snack was already nourishing him. Lead the way, Nully. The two friends slithered and scampered between bushes along the hot gravel, and before long Mo began to observe tiny little shells on the ground. More and more, scattered everywhere like miniature white ice cream cones, spread all along the ground. Nully, why are there shells here? I thought this place was called Undiri, the waterless. Ha ha, fella, you can't drink it, but there is a very special big water here. Come through this cave and I'll show you. We're almost home. Mo and Nully made their way down into a shady tunnel, carved into the limestone rocks. More little shells were embedded in its walls, and little succulents with purple flowers grew in the dappled crevices. Mo felt a deep rumbling in his scales. Parum! Swish! Then calm. Parum! Swish! Then calm again. Where are you taking me? Mo called nervously, but Nully didn't stop. They turned a corner and emerged into a large shady cavern facing the open horizon. Mo stopped dead, and his bottom jaw slowly dropped. He could see what his scales had felt. The big water. Bright sun rays twinkled and danced on its surface. I forgot to tell you another important First Peoples word. Wenyo. It means welcome. Wenyo to my home, Mo. The Boonda Cliffs of the great Australian Bight. And that is the ocean. Its name is Bilia to the Merning people. Mo lay mesmerized, the endless expanse of gleaming sapphire blue water in front of him. White-capped waves slowly rolled towards him from the deep blue, and then out of view as they smashed the base of the cliffs far below them. Boom! Swish! And gone. This truly is a special place, thought Mo. He stayed there with Nully, tucked away safely in the Boonda cliffs for a few days, enjoying the view, sleeping and regaining his strength. He often thought of his family back home and wished they were with him. They would finally see and believe what he had imagined was always out there: new adventures, breathtaking places, and new friends. And he had found it on his own. One morning, as Mo lay basking in the sunshine, which flooded into their tiny little cave, he curled back to look at his skin map for the first time since shedding. He let out a giant hiss in surprise. Sizzling snags! It had grown, and another golden scale had appeared right at the bottom edge of the Australia shape. My scales! They're becoming like Mum's, he declared to himself. He turned to Nully, who was looking at him wide-eyed after his loud hiss. Nully could see a glint in his eyes. He looked different. "You're looking mighty brave, fella. What you thinking?" "I am feeling brave, and I knew I was meant for adventure. I must get back and tell everyone. They must join me." He determined that all he needed was another meal and a moonlit night, and he was going to get there no matter what. "Nully, don't suppose you have another mealga egg tucked away?" Nully smiled and ran out the cave.